Well, let's get more on this. We're joined by Sreeram Chaulia, Professor and Dean at the Jindal School of International Affairs, and he's joining us live from the Indian capital, New Delhi. Mr. Chaulia, good to have you with us on Al Jazeera. So the ICJ ordering a review of the death sentence. Do you think that will be a satisfactory outcome for the Indian government?
Oh, I think so, very much so, Elizabeth. We were wanting to save the life of what we consider to be an innocent Indian citizen who's been framed by our neighboring country. So to that extent, the International Court of Justice has basically stayed the execution of Kulbhushan Jadhav by the Pakistani authorities. And it's also ordered for a review and reconsideration, which essentially means a retrial, agreeing with the Indian viewpoint that the military tribunal that had sentenced Kulbhushan Jadhav was essentially flawed. So I think if you take all these together, and in fact the ball is now in the Pakistani court, and what the International Court of Justice has said is that India should be granted consular access to its citizen who is in a Pakistani jail, and in the past it had not happened. So I think on all those scores it's a success.
And Pakistan's Foreign Office had said that it would accept the ICJ's decision, but do you think that they will allow Jadhav the consular access that he wasn't given? India argued that that was in breach of the Vienna Convention, and the other issue that India based their case on, which was that Pakistan did not follow due process.
I think they'll have to grant access now. The court has clearly mentioned that Pakistan is in breach of international law by denying Kulbhushan Jadhav consular access. So the question now is, what do they do? I mean, the Pakistanis have made this a national ego issue. You know, for them, it's about confrontation and challenging India, and also creating a narrative that India is somehow destabilizing Pakistan by sending spies. So for them, they will have to look for a face-saving way to absorb this legal defeat and look for ways to, take further steps. And I think the relationship between the two countries really predicated on what Pakistan does next. I mean, if they show sincerity and if they abide by the international court's order and ruling and start consular access, do a retrial where Kulbhushan Jadhav gets legal representation from the Indian side and assistance, all those things will matter. And I would really hope that they do this, because Pakistan needs to improve its reputation internationally. It's looking for an IMF bailout. It has been under pressure from the US and also from the Financial Action Task Force for not cracking down enough on terrorism. So they have an image problem, and Kulbhushan Jadhav case really is exacerbating it for them. So in that sense, they are really with the backs to the wall, even though they're trying to put a spin on this whole matter and say, look, Kulbhushan Jadhav has not been ordered to be released and returned to India. I don't think that was ever expected much by India. It was like a bonus for us if that would happen. So I think truth will prevail, and what has happened is that the legal argument that India put forward was about the Vienna Convention, was about abiding by international law, and that has succeeded.
Mr. Chaulia, we thank you for your time, your perspective on this. That is Sreeram Chaulia, live in New Delhi.